describe a person who has been an important influence in your life. So the person I want to talk about is my dad. Uh, so a lot of people say that I often look after my father, or I act almost exactly like my father, and I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Anyway, the reason that I admire and be so grateful for what he did to me is, because first of all, he is a father, the figure of the man in the house, right? He's the one who not just you know uh, does all the does most of the heavy lifting stuff, but also the one who teach me how to be responsible as a man, how to behave as a man, and influence my mindset a lot during my adolescent stuff. Yeah. Uh, Not just that, but uh, he is also kind of like a companion to me, even if admittedly, I did not spend much time with him like I usually do with my mother. But I am very grateful for what he gave me, and that's why that's my father. Uh, Second questions. Let's talk about where you live. My hometown, my city is Hanoi, and the thing that I like most about Hanoi is that it's it's still vibrant, yeah, like Saigon, but sometimes it also feel quiet and relaxing. And not just that, Hanoi have one of the best street foods around Vietnam, along with all kinds of leisure leisures that you can find here. And of course, being a capital cities, we held a lot of important uh, things in the country history. Now, normally Hanoi is not exactly the go-to destination for most tourists. Well, mainly because it's kind of boring. Because when you compare it to, let's say, New York or uh, Vancouver in Canada, Hanoi is not particularly special. Except for those artifacts I talk about, like the Ho Chi Minh Monument or the one column temples, whatever that is. It doesn't have much things. So people usually will prefer some place like Da Nang or Hạ Long Bay, which is because they want to taste different flavor, right? But there are still a handful amount of visitors every year uh, come to Hanoi for for good reason, to study about the country history mostly. And the reason that I know this is because I also have some time, you know, being a unpaid tour guide for a volunteer program. And you know, from what I saw, most visitors came here actually older people who interested in learning history and overall just relaxing and visit different place. They are not as active as young people who like to go to the beach, swimming, hiking, stuff like that. And there. So there's that. I guess every place have, you know, every place is a different destination for different people. And honestly, in the if talking about changes being done to Hanoi, I think one of the most significant things is the Gatling train highway. I mean, thanks to it, it's not just add another tourist attraction, but also provide kind of like a semi food tour for newcomer because, well, the highway is pretty, you know, I would say a bit short, but each stop that it's go through, you have loads amount of different restaurants to try. Yeah, so that is Hanoi. Uh, and last questions, and maybe not. Not really. What food is typical of your home country? Well, when talking of Vietnam, actually we have a humongous amount of different food because of the culture from different place. Even if that is the same dishes, but it was made from north and the south, it's already very different. So, like for example, pho in the north in Hanoi, right? The pho there is kind of umami. It has umami flavor. It's hard to describe the flavor, but it's meaty, but also kind of clear and transparent, of course, I guess. And the noodles itself is flat and pretty dense, not very, you know, crispy, but kind of chewy. Yeah, sorry, I'm very bad at explaining stuff. But in Saigon, the broth, yeah, is a bit sweet. Actually, it's very sweet, and people eat pho there with bean sprout and other kind of herbs which we don't do in Hanoi. And also, their noodles have a kind of square shape and a bit kind of crunchy texture to it. But I'm getting a bit mixed, yeah. But overall, the Vietnamese cuisine, it will strive for balance. So most foods that you typically have in my country, it will balance between all the flavor. The best example is probably bánh mì, which is our sandwiches. You have the carbs, which is the bread. You have the vegetables, uh, carrots like this, sometimes onions, herbs, and you have meat, protein like egg, ham, beef, and then sauce. So it's always have a balanced taste to the food. Are there any special festivals or celebration in your town, city? Well, in Vietnam, I mean in my city, Hanoi, it still follow regular festival tradition and for traditional festivals like Tet holiday, uh, or other vacation days. But one of the exclusive festival I can think of is Hội Gióng. Well, it's a festival to celebrate the saint. He kind of like saint, I think, to celebrate our saint named Zhang. Yeah, and because in our mythology, he is the one who defeat the enemies by um, grew up from a toddler to a whole strong muscular man after eating a lot of rice, and he used that divine power to push up the enemy, and after that he vanished, just like most hero, I guess. And so we celebrate the day he won as a kind of appreciation to the man, even if he's not real, and also to give workers and students some day to break, I guess. What advice would you give to a visitor to your city? Well, firstly, the most crucial advice I can give is watch out for scammer. There is actually, even in Hanoi, there is actually a lot of scammers there. So just hold your wallet, your bag tight. Not that tight, but just watch out because sometimes they can be really fast, riding on the motorcycle and whoosh like a wind. And you never know when you will get robbed or pickpocket. So just you know take everything close and nicely hidden, just for sure. Next, don't just stay at don't just try one food, especially in Hanoi. There are tons and tons of street foods you can choose from. So you shouldn't stick to like phở or bánh cuốn every day. Every day I highly recommend you should try all kinds of foods around, like bánh tráng, bánh xèo, stuff like that. Yeah. And lastly, just respect uh, people, especially those that Vietnamese consider to be extremely important person. For example, Ho Chi Minh, Võ Nguyên Giáp. You don't want to be uh, disrespectful to them because it's not like in USA or Canada where you can freely talk about politics and important person in history. Vietnam is not like that, so just